Welcome back to the program. Elections are the very bedrock of our democracy. Not just elections, but credible, free and fair elections. It's 135 days and exactly 12 hours to the 2023 presidential elections, and concerns about the management of the election are being raised. Let's speak with our guest tonight. Is a man who knows about the intricacies of election management in Nigeria. In fact, the man who has actually organized and overseen two major elections in our country. Professor Jega is a former chairman of INEC. He retired in June 2015. He's also former vice chancellor of Bayero University, Kano. He joins us virtually on the program tonight. Good evening, Professor, and it's good to see you again.
Good evening, and Kayode, thank you for having me on your program.
Right. Well, Prof, following those allegations raised today by the CUPP, I don't know, for you, do you have any doubts in your mind about INEC delivering a credible election next year, devoid of any infiltration, intimidation whatsoever?
Kayode, as we get closer to the elections, all sorts of things happen. Either out of desperation or out of mischief making. And I think the challenge for the Electoral Commission and for all of us citizens who want to see elections with integrity is to remain focused on what INEC is supposed to do, what it is doing, and how we can all complement what the Electoral Commission is doing for successful elections. You see, I think somebody said a long time ago that anything is possible in our country. So we cannot just wish away these kinds of allegations when they are being made. But frankly, these allegations are not things we hear from INEC itself, you know. So until INEC begins to complain that these kinds of things are happening, its constitutional mandate of delivering on free, fair, and credible elections, I don't think we should put a lot of weight to this. But as I said, anything is possible. Politicians can be use of technology scares many politicians, and they get afraid that their traditional methods of rigging elections, by the value that use of technology would bring to the process. But again, those politicians who are desperate and who do this, frankly, cut across all political parties. You know, the election to have integrity, to be free and fair, across all political parties, particularly the dominant political parties. There are people who are also desperate and reckless.
Oh dear.
Won by hook or by crook.
Right, Prof. Looks like we keep losing tiny bits of what you were saying from time to time, perhaps connection issues. But the question then will be, if INEC is really hurting, if INEC is going through things, who would INEC cry to? I imagine that it's really rare for INEC to come out and say, well, indeed, this is going on, this is where it's hurting. I mean, it's rare for that to happen. But in terms of political interference, having been inside, how susceptible really, or otherwise, is INEC to these possible manipulations, interference, intimidation, maybe? How susceptible, in fact, with the newly established law, or the new Electoral Act, how susceptible is INEC?
As I pointed, the closer you get to elections, the more that desperation shows. And while I am not lending any credibility to what has been alleged, frankly, from my own experience, we saw how close to the election some politicians became afraid that using the card reader was going to stop rigging the election using their own methods, and so they came out and at a point even started demanding publicly for me to either resign or to what they called terminal leave, so that I didn't have to supervise the conduct of the 2015 general elections. Is there, and they will try to exhibit it. I think what is most important is the capacity of the election management body to resist that pressure, and having recognized that using technology will add value, to just remain focused and to instruct them from using the beavers as well as deploying the electronic transmission of results, because they now have a legal backing to be able to do that.
Some have pointed to the recent appointment nomination of commissioners for INEC. Does that raise a red flag for you as well?
Well, obviously, the more impartial and non-partisan electoral commissioners are, the better for the commission in terms of discharging its responsibilities without fear or favor, in terms of delivering peaceful and credible elections. So obviously, anytime commissioners or resident electoral commissioners are nominated, and there are allegations of partisanship, it is very, very important for the National Assembly, particularly the Senate Committee and the Senate itself, to thoroughly interrogate all of those allegations, and to be able to ensure that the people that they endorse are really people who have the credibility and the non-partisan disposition to discharge this responsibility. So I think before the Senate approved this current nomination of resident electoral commissioners, there have been allegations of some of them being either partisan or working very close with the incumbent government and so on and so forth. Recently, I had chairman of the committee, Senate Committee on Electoral Matters, that screened these candidates, who said very definitively that they had done a thorough investigation together with security agencies, and that they are satisfied that the people that they recommended to Senate, and who I understand have now been screened and passed, he said that they are satisfied that the allegations of their partisanship and the other things are superiors. One can only hope that that is the case.
Right.
Certainly, in terms of the nomination, both by the president and the screening by the Senate, it is very, very important to ensure that those who are recommended and who are screened are actually non-partisan, because that is the only way that perceptions cannot be brought by citizens or other parties in order to undermine the integrity of the process.
Well, Prof, as we wind down in about a minute, I want to let you go without talking politics. Are you still a member of the PRP?
Yes, I'm a very active member of the PRP.
And I mean, one wonders the chances of your party in the coming elections. Over time, we've seen that essentially two parties share the large chunk of the votes, with the others sharing just, what, about 3% or thereabout of the remaining votes. So really, is there value in having as much as 18 presidential candidates when it's said that just about 4 of them are the major candidates, the frontliners?
Definitely, Coyote, you have to understand that politics is about choices. And the more choices citizens have as voters, the better. Our only hope is that they will choose the right kind of people. And so our party is in politics for the long haul. It is not just a matter of 2023 general elections. Obviously, we have a candidate. We believe he stands equally on equal footing with all the candidates of the other parties. And we believe that if given a chance, he will drive a process of change based on the philosophy of our party, as well as on the manifesto of bringing positive changes to our country. You know, well, so it should not surprise anybody that there are many candidates, and ultimately it is not done until it is done.
All right. As you said, in it for the long haul. But we'd like to thank you so much, Professor Tahiru Jega. Always a pleasure to speak with you, former chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission. Thank you so much for your time on the program tonight.
Thank you so much, Coyote, for having me on your program. Thanks a lot.